Hi, in this video, we're going to review extending an offer with an offer approval chain and how to set up an offer approval. Offer approvals ensure the right amount of oversight in your hiring process. You have the option to set up a single approval process for an entire company or multiple processes for your offers under different brands, departments, and locations, depending on your org field setup. Let's go ahead and get started. Within your settings panel, to open up the offer settings, you'll want to scroll down to the configuration section and click Offer Approvals. In this setting, you have the option to create a new chain. You'll want to start by giving your approval chain a name. As a reminder, it's a best practice to use clean naming conventions to help you organize the different approval chains that you'll end up creating within your instance. Down below, you're presented with an option to apply this approval chain to different org fields. This is how you can allocate different approval chains to different jobs within your system. For this example, I'm going to go ahead and say that this approval chain is going to apply to all of my org fields. However, as more approval chains are created, you want to make sure that you apply these fields to be unique of one another and align different approval chains to different areas within your org. Once the org fields are applied, you'll then create an approval chain. You can preset an approval chain to be a sequential approval, meaning that the approval requests are going to be sent in the order that you configure. A parallel approval, which will allow multiple approvers to approve an offer at any given time. Or if you happen to be leveraging an integration for your offer approvals, you can select that as well. For this example, I'm going to go ahead and say that this is a sequential approval, again, meaning that every approver within the chain has to approve the offer. You can select approvers. They can be named users, any user within the hiring process, or you can allocate specific hiring team roles to be part of this approval chain. In this example, I'm going to go ahead and make my admin user the approver on the chain. Once I'm satisfied with the approval chain, I can go ahead and save. You'll see now that the saved approval chain shows up on our details list, and I can go ahead and activate this approval chain. Now I expect to see this approval chain apply to all of my offers. Other settings can be found in the offer approval settings, and you'll be presented with three options. The first setting we see here, approver access to the offer, can be toggled on or off. When a user is added to an approval chain, they're granted full access to the job. If you choose to toggle this option on, it will remove approvers' access to the offer once the offer has been approved. The delegate approver on the offer setting allows approvers or an admin to delegate to another user. An example of this is if you happen to have a user on an approval chain that happens to be out of the office, let's say they're on a family vacation, you can delegate the approval to another user. The authentication setting means that users can access the offer approval without the need to be authenticated into SmartRecruiters. All of these settings can be toggled on or off as you see fit. Now that we've configured our offer approval chain, let's go back to the candidate we recently extended an offer and show how the offer approval chain works. In the previous video, we extended an offer without approval chains turned on. As you can see, now that we're back in the offers tab and our approval chain is activated, we're met with a third step of setting up an offer approval. Since I haven't sent this offer to the candidate yet, the offer approval pulls in the approval chain that I recently configured, and the named user is the expected approver. If I wish, I can add comments on the approval request and then send for approval. Since I'm the named user on the approval chain, I can either approve or reject this approval and add my comments for my reasoning. I'm going to go ahead and approve this offer. Now that the offer is approved, we can proceed with sending the offer to the candidate. Thank you.